What's happening, YouTube? Jeff Robbins here, back with the first video of 2025, and in this one we're going to be taking a look at my Briggs LO206, and I'm going to show you how to profile the camshaft. So, pretty simple procedure. There is a few specific tools that you will need. You're going to need a holder that will hold a dial indicator to the back of the short block. You're going to need this little threaded attachment, and what that's going to do is that's going to sit on the crank, and then our degree wheel is actually going to mount to it so that we can take the degrees of the different points of the camshaft. Obviously we're going to need a dial indicator. You're going to need two of the head bolts that come off the engine. This actually comes off the engine as well. It's right over here. It holds that little cup on for the recoil starter. Obviously we're going to need a degree wheel. Got a sheet here so we can record our results, and that should be pretty much it. And obviously you'll need a 206 engine. So couple reasons why I think you may want to do this, why you would want to profile the camshaft of your engine. If it's a second-hand engine, obviously you'd be able to check, make sure no one's gotten in there and done anything funny. Leave you holding the bags as you roll through tech, so you can make sure your engine's good to go. Second reason is just so you know what you got. There's not much you can do besides a few adjustments to the head, so the short block comes the way it comes. So knowing what you have may help you with some of your other adjustments as far as valve lash and whatnot. So there you have it, guys. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tear a couple things off this engine. It's still actually kind of dirty from last race season. I haven't done much with it, haven't cleaned it up. So I'm just going to wipe it up, clean it up, tear the side off, and we'll get everything mounted up, and then we'll start profiling this camshaft. Okay, so we're tore down far enough. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead, we're going to get everything mounted up onto the engine real quick. And then what I'll do is I'm going to reposition you so you're looking over my shoulder so you'll be able to see the timing wheel as we profile the cam. So first thing we'll do, let's go ahead and let's get this attached here. That on real tight. And on this side, you know, I've got this tool that I've showed you in the past. This thing comes in real handy actually. Just whenever you need to work on the engine, you need to hold the crank, you can just do it by hand. Just hold on to that, and got that pretty tight. So let's go ahead and get our mount put on. And one thing you'll notice when you put this mount on is there is a little bit of wiggle room. And what I've found is you want to hold it up up as high as you can before you tighten it down, and I'll show you why here in just a second. So what that mount's going to do is it's going to hold our dial indicator right over the top of the lifter. And you'll notice on the lifters there's a little recess in there where the rod sits in there, where the push rod sits in. And you're going to want the dial indicator to line up. And you're going to want the dial indicator to rest directly in the center, right there, right where the push rod sits. You're not going to want it up on the edge a little bit. You're not going to want it twisted in there a little bit. You're going to want it straight in. And what I found is if you hold this thing up a little bit, when you go to put this thing in, and then you can look down in there and make sure you're lined up. Yeah, and that's good to go. So just one thing to double check before you get started. Your numbers will kind of move around on you if that's not just lined up just perfectly. So that out of here. I'm not sure if I mentioned before, but you need a pointer, and this is what we're going to mount to the top of the engine right here, and that's going to tell us where we're at on our degree wheel. And when I start, I like to get it as close to top dead center as I possibly can. I mean, you can see the piston right there, so it's not too hard to get yourself close. Get our degree wheel on there. Just snug it up a little bit just so it doesn't come loose. Install our pointer. You can use anything. This is just a piece of copper ground, probably residential grade ground wire. All right, so before we start degreeing the cam, we need to make sure we have top dead center so that our wheel's in the right place. So you'll notice on here I've got 3 holes. These 2 are right above the lifters, so this is what we'll use when we're going to do the exhaust lobe, and then this is what we'll use for the intake lobe. And when we want to find top dead center, we're going to go ahead and use this top one. So we're going to start with the degree wheel up here, just like that. So when I reposition you over my shoulder, the first thing we're going to be doing is finding top dead center with this hole. And then what we'll do is we'll move down to the intake, and then we'll move down and we'll do the exhaust. But there we have it. So we've got our degree wheel lined up, dial indicator installed, and we're ready to profile this cam. Okay, so to get started, first thing we got to do is we need to find top dead center so that we can get our pointer lined up right here with our 0 degree mark on this wheel. So we've got our dial indicator installed. So one method that I use to do this is what we'll do is we'll find top dead center, and what we're looking for is where the dial indicator goes as far as it'll go, and then it starts coming back. So if I rotate it this way, so as I'm rotating it this way, it's going to come this way, and then it'll start going back. So right there, it's close to top dead center. If we do it the other way, say we come at it from this way, same thing. So we've got top dead center roughly right here. So we're going to try to get that zeroed on our dial indicator. And then let's roll through top dead center a few times just to make sure we're lined up. Right on the 0. That's pretty close right there. Okay. So now, in order to get our pointer lined up right where we need to, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get it right on top dead center, and then we're going to want to go past 50 mil, and then we'll go the other way 50 mil, and then we'll get this lined up right in between those 2 points, and that's how we'll center and get this lined up right where it needs to be. So right here is where we've got our dial indicator zeroed out. So let's go 50 mil after top dead center right there, and you can see we are at 11 degrees. So let's go the other way. Right there's top dead center. And there's 50. And see over here we've got 20 degrees. So there's a 9-degree difference. So split that in half, 4.5 degrees. We need to bring this back over 4.5 degrees. So let's move this over to our 16 mark, excuse me, right there. Now let's do it again. So there's top dead center. We've got our 0. Let's go to 50. We're at about 15 degrees. Now let's go the other way. 50. And we're at 15 degrees. So now I know my wheel is where it needs to be. So I can go ahead and I can pull my dial indicator off from up here, and we'll get it positioned over our intake lobe. Just like so. And we need to find 0 on our dial indicator again. So similar when we were looking for top dead center, all we're going to do is spin this thing over a few times until it starts moving on us. And we're going to see where it comes to rest. So it stopped moving at about right there. So I'm going to go ahead and 0 out my indicator. Let's do it again. And we're right back to 0. So I'm pretty comfortable getting started right here. So I've got my paper ready to go. Get a working pen. All right, so the first point we're going to be looking for on the intake is our 6,000th mark. And then we're going to go to 20 thousandths, 50 thousandths, 100 thousandths, and so on. So let's go to 6 thousandths first. So all we're going to do is rotate this until our dial indicator starts moving. And it goes to 6 thousandths right there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look at our wheel, and we're going to need to count. So you can get specific wheels. I'm not sure if it's specifically for a 4-stroke or whatnot. But with mine, it's just a full 360 degrees. So I have to kind of count this out. So 6 thousandths, we've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 51 degrees. So we'll go ahead and write down 51. Now we need to go to 20 thousandths. So we'll just continue rotating the wheel until our dial indicator says 20 thousandths, which is right there. And then we've got to find out where we're at again. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 75, 76, 77, 78. Oh, see, look, and I counted the wrong way. So I actually need to go this way. So 10, 12. That's where it would come in handy to have the right type of wheel. Just make your life a little bit easier. So now let's go to 50. Right there. I've got 4 degrees. So we'll go ahead and write that down. $100. Right there. 10, 20, 21. Go ahead and write that down. Now we got to go to 150. Right there. 10, 20, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38. And 175. Right there. 10, 20, 30. Oh, got to go this way. Sorry. 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 46, 47, 48. Almost 48 and a half. Let's go 48.5 on that one. $200. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 55, 59 and a half. And then 225. Right there. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 73. Okay, so we've got through all of our checks on the way up. The next one is going to be our max lift setting, or excuse me, number. So we'll go ahead and check that next. So we're at 225 right now. So as we keep rotating this over, there's 250, 51, and then it starts going back down. So 251 and a half. 251 and a half is going to be my intake lift. All right. So we're going to keep going, spinning this in the clockwise direction, and now we're going to test the way down on the intake. So we're going to go back to the last setting we did, which was 225. Right there. Let's count this out. 10, 20, 30, 35 and a half. 200. 10, 22. 175. 12. 150. 2.5. 100. 14.5. 50, 10, 20, 30, 1.5. 50. And then the final check, 6 thousandths on the way back down. 90. So there we have it. So there's the profile of the intake lobe of my personal Briggs LO206 right there. So let's go ahead, let's do the exhaust. Same exact process, just on the exhaust side. Let's go ahead and get our gauge zeroed out. One thing you'll notice when you're setting the exhaust is the needle will do a little bump about, I don't know, 40 thousandths of an inch, and then it'll fall back down. I think that's just the compression release opening. All right, so I've got this zeroed out pretty much right where I want it. So let's go ahead and get started. Six thousandths. Oh, so this is the compression. Let's see if I can show you. So I almost got started on the wrong one. Let's make sure we start where we need to be starting. So there's that little compression blip, and then the needle will come back down. Now we should be good. That's kind of low. I'm gonna put it, so that's 88. Lowest should be 93. So let's keep going. $10, $20, $30, $40, $52. $30, $45, $47. $21. Let's go to 150. $4. $75. $5. $200. $17. $225. $31.5. All right, so that was the last check up on the exhaust lobe. Now we've got to do our max lift. So there goes 249. Sure enough, 249 max lift. All right, Let's keep going. 225. Right there. 77. Let's go to 200. Right there. 63. $175, 50 and a half, 150, 41, 100, 25, 6, 12. On our final check, 6 thousandths. $55. All right, guys, so completely finished up intake and exhaust cam lobe checks. There's the numbers right there. This is the only number that was really too far off, was the exhaust up check at 6 thousandths. Came in at 88, which is 4 degrees outside of where it should be. And I think the buffer is only 2, so who knows what the deal with that is. You know, this one's 3 shy right there. Oh, you know what, and that one's 4 over. So there's a couple numbers right through there that are a little out from where they should be, but 100% stock cam, nothing's been done to it, so there's the numbers right there, guys. All right, guys, so that was kind of a lot. I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head when I was talking about it. But that's the process of profiling your camshaft. I mean, it's really not going to do a lot for you other than just provide you information. But it's always good to know what engine you have. Here's my numbers. You know, and I'm going to put these numbers in the engine dock, so if you want to check them out, you can go ahead and feel free to take a look. Everyone's concerned about that 6 thousandths number on the intake, talking about you want it as close to 51 as you can get it. Yeah, true. I do hear that's good. To be honest with you, I'm just taking the advice from others on that as well. But there's also another number in here that I've been informed of, that I've been checking as well as I take a lot of information from the max lift of both the intake and the exhaust. I use that when I'm factoring and trying to find my valve lash. So just a bunch more stuff for you guys to think about when you're trying to set up your 206 if there already wasn't enough stuff. But it's 2025, guys, so make sure you plan your race your plan, and have a good time at the track.